Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be talking about the International Society for Technology in Education Standards in Teaching. I interviewed 3 educators who use technology in their classes to see to what extent ISTE standards are evident in their teaching. I asked 6 main questions relating to ISTE standards. We will take a look at them individually momentarily. Question 1 was related to Standard 1B and asks, do you participate in any local or global networks relating to teaching or the subjects that you teach? If so, what and how do they assist you? I actually sourced most of my interviewees from various groups, although this did not necessarily reflect in their answers. Only 2 out of 3 teachers said that they participate in groups, and 1 said that they only participate in local groups with other teachers. The remaining teachers said that they participated in groups such as Common Sense Media, EdTech News, Tinker and Code.org. This is interesting as they did not acknowledge the groups where teachers actually share and exchange information, but rather they tended to mention large organizations that mostly push information on teachers. Let's take a look at these examples anyway. Tinker is a paid source of teaching materials for coding. It also offers a limited set of free lessons. Code.org is another site for providing materials for schools that want to teach coding. Common Sense Media also shares lesson plans related to technology usage. In particular, they are known for their series on digital citizenship. As I mentioned earlier, my interviewees were sourced from various online groups, though they did not mention them in their answers. In addition to these groups, I was, up until this year, very active on iEarn, a platform that connects schools from around the world to learn together with large international projects. I co-founded several projects, including 360 VR Cultural Exchange, 3D Ideas, and Kids International Film Festival. I also coordinated an effort with my students to participate in other technology-driven projects. Question 2 was, what experience with new technologies, software, hardware, or other, have you advocated for or shared with other teachers? This question relates to ISTE Standard 2C. The teachers listed the following software. Let's take a look at these individually. Python is a programming language that is known to be relatively accessible for beginners. HTML and CSS are languages typically used for coding websites. Blender is an open source software known primarily for its 3D modeling capabilities. I also extensively use this software with my students, so I was thrilled to see it make an appearance. Google Classroom was mentioned by 2 of the teachers. This software provides a digital wall for teachers to share with students and parents. SumTalk is software for math. Quizlet is a way to make revision more effective and engaging. Nearpod was another software for sharing lesson plans. Personally, I feel as educators, we should be advocating open source and free software so as to empower all of our students. We should champion open source office suites, operating systems, and applications. It's even better if applications are portable and can be stored on their USB drives. I try to use exclusively free and open source software with my students. Or when open source is not an option, I'll settle for free or vice versa. I also like Google Cardboard and Cardboard Camera, and my advocacy of these technologies has enabled schools from poorer countries to create and view VR content with low-cost smartphones instead of having to buy high-cost 360 cameras and VR headsets. Question 3 relates to the Standard 3C. I asked, is copyright important? How can we teach students safe, legal, and ethical practices with digital tools? There seemed to be less emphasis on the importance of copyright in Vietnam. This is also something that I've seen here in Taiwan. However, as a content creator, I understand and try to educate my students about the importance of using only Creative Commons content. Regarding collaboration and Standard 4C, it seems that few teachers engage in collaboration with other schools, and any collaboration was limited to collaboration with other teachers. As I mentioned earlier, I had some success with iEarn, though even that came to an end as it turned out that our school had to pay for membership, and that was cut. I'm currently looking into paying for membership by myself, and eventually finding or creating a free platform for my projects. I know that some teachers also use Facebook groups for this purpose. Question 5 was related to Standard 6D, and asked about how teachers foster creativity. The most useful piece of advice seemed to be to just try to point the students in a certain direction rather than telling them exactly what to do. For my final question, I also asked about the value of alternative ways to assess student competencies. 2 out of 3 of the teachers strongly preferred project-based assessments for technology-driven lessons. ISTE standards were also seen in the lesson plans that the teachers used. In particular, 2 of the 3 teachers used lesson plans from online sites, one of which was commonsense.org. The Common Sense lesson plans clearly list which ISTE standards are addressed in each lesson plan. Here I have highlighted how this particular lesson plan aligns with the standard 5B by using authentic learning activities. The early lesson plans don't always spoon-feed you with all the content required to make a lesson engaging. While newer lesson plans often come with videos, PowerPoint presentations, and images for the discussion points, this can be absent in the earlier ones. In this way, it also goes against Standard 5B. After reviewing all this content and discussing the matter with my peers, I chose the following 5 questions to help guide technology-enabled lesson plans. Number 1. What is my backup plan if there are technical difficulties? Because you always need a backup plan. Number 2. How can we encourage creativity and collaboration in this lesson? Which relates to standards 4 and 6. Number 3. Is this exercise authentic? For standard 4A. Number 4. How can mastery be best assessed for this lesson? Standard 7. And question number 5. Will everyone have equitable access to the technology needed for this lesson and further study? For standard 2B. That is all that I have time for today. Thank you for listening.